My name is Echo. I'm a transgender woman living in Los Angeles, and this is my story. Life is hard. It's difficult. It comes at us with unexpected turns and twists, but it's also beautiful and full of love and life. I'm an artist. I'm a student. I'm a performer. And I'm even a witch. I'm me. And I love who I am. And I want to share my story. So come join me. Hey YouTube, welcome back. I'm glad you guys are watching now episode 2 of my series, Echo's Voice. My name is Echo, and I am a transgender woman living in Los Angeles, and this is a little bit about my story. So, I think I wanted to talk today a little bit about the huge elephant in the room. Breasts. I mean, honestly, just to be all serious here, breast is a huge subject for transgender women because it's a huge part about being a woman. It makes you feel feminine. It makes you feel just closer to that form, that body form that makes a woman physically a woman. I mean, when you see, I mean, again, this is all subjective. This is all my opinion, because there are very beautiful women out there that don't have breasts. I'll just say that, or they have very small breasts, like Callista Flockhart and the girl from My So-Called Life. I don't know her name. Claire Danes. That's it. I think it's Claire Danes. Claire Danes. Ally McBeal. If I don't know if you remember her, but she's back from the 90s. There's all those women who have no chest but are beautiful souls. So in the beginning, when I first started transitioning, breast was a super important topic or issue for me. So important so that I wanted to get, I wanted to be on hormones right away because I knew that there was going to help me grow breasts, my own breast tissue, so that I could eventually get augmentation. But I also, sorry. But I would also buy silicone breast forms. So let me show you what these are. I have them with me. They're old, they're shabby. Do not judge, because they're pretty bad. Okay, so there are several forms. They're heavy. There are several forms of silicone breasts that you can purchase as a transgender or a cross-dresser that can help you have the illusion of breasts. So I'm going to bleep out the nipple parts of them so they don't look too nipply, but I'm going to start with the basics. So the basics are the chicken cutlet. So this would be a chicken cutlet. I'm not going to show the nipple part, but it's like, I call it a chicken cutlet, but it's not. It's really silicone. It's made from silicone on the inside, and you basically place it on your breast area with a bra, or you can use medical adhesive spray, put it on there, and it sticks there where you can have a breast. That was the first thing that I bought. I think you can buy them off Amazon for like, I think the cheapest ones are like $20, maybe less. And then if you want to do it like all the way like I did, because I was very, I was super sneaky, I did get the medical adhesive, and then you have to get medical adhesive remover because it gets really gross. Like you can even see it on here. Like all that goop guppy stuff, that's medical adhesive. And it's really hard to get off. So it's hard to get off your body, it's hard to get off these things. So you have to buy it all. You have to buy the cutlet, you have to buy the medical adhesive, and then the medical adhesive remover. And I would place it on there, and it would stick. It would stick through a whole gangbang if I needed it to. But kidding. But it would stick for a long time. However, though it may look good with clothes on, without clothes on, it's obviously fake. And so if you are the kind of person who wants somebody to touch them and then feel real, they feel real with clothes on. Without them, no. So good luck with that. The second form that you can get is this kind here. Now this kind is a little bit more expensive. This is probably around 200 to or 180 to like 230. But they look like this, and I am going to censor the nipple parts so you don't see them, but they look like this. And they have a strap that goes around the body and another strap that goes around the other part of the body. So basically they sit, you know, on you, and they have two straps that go around. Now those forms are great and everything too. The problem with that is that they don't fit very well. If they don't fit right the first time, you have to like cut them yourself. You have to put silicone adhesive and make it smaller so it fits your body. So it's not very convenient. They sweat really bad, and so the sweat is just, it's not cute. Like I don't know. I've had some pretty good times in those. I've gone out to clubs. I've done a lot of things with those on, and nobody noticed. But you know that they're there. You know that if anybody sees you, would be embarrassed. So it's kind of a give and take situation with those. You just kind of are like, it's great, but again, that's just a temporary fix. Now the last one that I have to show you is broken, so don't judge me, because I'm telling you I wore the crap out of these things. But it is, and again I'm going to censor the nipples out, but it is a full body. So the full body ones go around your head, around your neck, over your shoulders, and it's like you're wearing a turtleneck, really, a silicone turtleneck. Now these are the best kind because they look real, they feel real, except for the fact that they do get cold. So like if you're sweating and you're hot, on the outside the AC is on or something, the outside will be cold. So if somebody touches them, it doesn't feel, it feels cold, like really cold. So these forms are, but they're the best for like, if you want them to look real, and you can like bounce around with them, but you do have to wear like a collar. Like you have to wear a collar, like either a scarf around your neck or like, you know, some lingerie does have like a collar piece to it. Like there's something, you just have to wear a collar. You have to wear a bra strap, because the bra or like something that goes over your shoulders is, you know, you can wear lingerie or something that goes over your shoulders to cover that part. And in the midsection, you see a line there too. So it's like, it's all, I mean, there's ways to cover it to make it look more real, but at the same time, it's always going to be a silicone breastplate. A lot of people use them, drag queens, cross-dressers, trans women, when they don't have, you know, the full breasts. So those are like the temporary options. And again, for me, I use those temporary options for years, for like 2 years. And they all seem to work pretty well, but at the end of the day, I always knew, hey, like this is not real. And it didn't feel real. And every time I took it off, I felt super depressed, and I felt I felt less than, I felt like I wasn't good enough. Like all the feelings that come with gender dysmorphia, gender, why do I keep calling it gender dysmorphia? It's not gender dysmorphia, it's gender, what is that word I'm thinking of? Gender dysmorphia? No, it isn't dysmorphia. Why can't I think of this word right now? When you are confused about your gender, I use this word all the time too. I'm drawing a blank. I'll have to like edit it in right here. Anyway, that word. So every time I felt that way, it was because I didn't have breasts, and I felt like, oh, that's all I want in my life is breasts. But like then, you know, now that I got them, there's other things that I want. So it's like breasts don't fix everything. But now I want to talk about breast augmentation, because this is a huge part of my transition, of where I'm at right now with my life. And I'm hoping that some of you, if you're having questions about it, can learn something from my experience too. So right now, what is the date? It is October 6th, and I got my breasts done on August 28th of this year, August 28th, 2020. It is now October 6th, 2020. And let me tell you, finding a doctor was the hardest part. Um, Not the hardest part, but it was really difficult finding a doctor that I can trust, that I knew what was like. He had some stuff out there on the internet for me to find. Like I wanted to make sure I did my thorough research, so I called about 5 doctors. Actually, spoke with only one, but I had emailed back and forth with several others. But I found their videos online and I didn't trust them. The one that I did find online was somebody that looked very well. He looked super trustworthy. He had videos and he specialized in 2 things. One was transgender breasts, and 2 was minimal scarring because the way he sutures up the scars. So those were 2 things that were super important, was that they know the difference between transgender breasts and cisgendered females' breasts. That was super number 1 for me, because the thing about breasts is that when you're born male, your nipples tend to be more outwards, like out on the side. When you're born cisgendered female, they tend to be more centered. So when you are going to a doctor and he doesn't know the difference and he's used to doing, 100 female breasts a month, he's not going to know that these need to be placed right so that those look more forward. He's going to do like a regular woman, and then you're going to have like lazy eye nipples. I call them lazy eye nipples because like they're looking all over the place. You want them to be straight. So my doctor specialized in that. And then minimal scarring, which was super important because I didn't want to walk around with scars on my body. So I found him. In order to even book an appointment, you had to pay $300, which I was just like, you that special? But I did that. It's $300 to book the appointment. And then if you decide to go forward with the surgery from the appointment, you then are required to put $1,000 down for a deposit. So right off the bat, in order to even consider doing this, you have to have $1,300 minimum right off the bat. And then from there, the augmentation did cost me, the total was $9,990. So basically $10,000. So I had to have that money up front, and then I had to have the other $9,000 ready to go within 2 weeks, because you have to pay a month before the surgery. Everything has to be paid for a month before the surgery. So I did it. I paid for everything. I was ready to go. Surgery time comes, and I don't drink alcohol. I smoke once in a while, like cigarettes once here and there, once in a while when I'm nervous. Not really. And drugs, no. Cigarettes, no. Alcohol, no. So those are things that they do ask you, like if you're doing drugs, alcohol, or cigarettes, because if you do, you could potentially have a negative or adverse reaction to the breasts, and you could have complications with healing. So everything checked out. The doctor checked me out. He interviewed me, whatever. Everything was ready to go. Surgery comes, and let me tell you, I thought that I could handle it on my own. I'm a strong girl. I'm a strong woman. I can handle my own. But with this surgery, it is the most painful thing I can say that I've ever experienced. And some people say like, oh, it was nothing like this. Even the lady at the augmentation place, the surgery center, she said, oh yeah, I know a girl who like totally went to a baseball game afterwards, like, or the next day. She was like, the next day she was at a baseball game, like hugging her family and stuff. And I was like, oh cool, like yeah. And then like, oh, nobody even finishes all their pain meds because like it doesn't hurt that bad. And I was like, okay, that sounds good too, because like I don't really like taking pain medication. So I was like, that sounds good. And little did I know that it was gonna be so painful. And I can handle pain. I can handle a lot of pain. I like BDSM. Let's go. But the truth is that like, so he went under the muscle. So his surgery went under the muscle. He makes a pocket, lifts up the muscle, and puts the implant underneath and places the muscle on top. So he did that. And because they do that type of way for usually transgender women, it's really hard. You can't like lift your arms. So you can't lift your arms. You can't lift anything more than 8 pounds. Even if you come close to lifting something 8 pounds, it feels like your muscles are going to fall off. So you can't really lift anything like a cup of water, your pills, like anything you can't lift. So you got to kind of, you have these dinosaur arms. You can use your arms like this. And that's about it for the first couple weeks, maybe even more. So I don't know how that girl went the next day to the baseball game, but like, no way. I'm trying not to swear because it was too hard to edit it out. It took too long. So let me put 13 minutes. 13 minutes. Let me mark that down somehow. So anyway, let's put that here. 13. So 2 weeks goes by and I'm healing fine. Everything's great. You know, the doctor did say that you can have sex after 2 weeks. And so like, I was like, game on, you know, like I got these fresh new girlies hanging out. Like I'm ready to go. And I think I just overdid myself, not just with that, but like with, I drove cross country to see my mom and my sister. I drove back and I was running around like a normal person when I was still technically going through a major trauma that my body went through. I was still healing. And so one night I was sitting outside smoking a cigarette, and I felt weird. My body felt weird. I felt not comfortable, and I was like, oh, my breast. And I leaned over and I felt something really weird. It felt like warm. It felt like warm liquid in my ribs. And I was like, oh, that's strange. And I got up out of the car and I closed the door and it brushed against my breast. Like just like a little brush. Not even, it wasn't even that bad. It was literally, but it felt to me that motion on there, it felt like my entire muscle ripped off my body. It just felt like it ripped, and I screamed and I like crooned over and I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And I thought that like, in my mind, I was like, I just ripped my muscle off my body. But in my mind also, I was like, that barely touched me. The door barely touched me. And so I went upstairs and I laid down on my bed and I curled up in a ball and I started shaking, and I was just like shaking because of the pain. Um, and then I started having a fever. And then from there, I couldn't really breathe right. I couldn't breathe well, and I was having a fever and just shaking, and I couldn't think properly. And so right away I called my doctor. At about like midnight, I called him. And there was an emergency line that answered. They said he was going to call back in 20 minutes. He didn't. I continued to go through this fever and this pain. I was shaking. I couldn't move. And I thought about going to the hospital, but I was like, like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to go to the hospital because, like, if I ripped my muscle off my body, what if they like remove the breast implant and they like put something bad in there, or like they make scars because they just remove it, they butcher it out of me. There's all these things going through my mind, so I wanted to wait for the doctor to call me back. So he calls me back around 7 o'clock in the morning. So this is several hours later, 7 hours later, really. And he says, well, why don't you come in around 11 o'clock this morning? And I said, well, I really don't feel good. Like, I don't think this is right. And he was like, well, if it's that bad, then go to the ER. And I was like, frick. I was like, okay, I'll wait, because I didn't want to go to the ER. I wanted to have him look at it just in case, like, anything, he could fix it and not leave me scarred up. That was the whole point, not leave me scarred up. So I waited, and about an hour later, I could not breathe. I couldn't breathe. And I was like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Every breath I took, it hurt. Everything I did, it hurt my whole body. Like my arm, I couldn't move it without, and this was the opposite arm. Like I couldn't move it without feeling like I was working out for 150 reps of something. Like I couldn't move. And so then I called him back and he said, call 911. Because I told him I was having, he said, call 911 if that's the issue. So I call 911. The ambulance comes to get me. The paramedics come into my house and they say to me, they take my temperature, they look in my eyes, they took my blood pressure, and they're like, your blood pressure is fine, your temperature is fine, you're not having a fever. So what are we doing here? And then they asked me if I was on drugs, and I was like, no, I'm not on drugs. Because I was shaking really bad. I was like, I'm not on drugs. I'm telling you there's something wrong. And they're like, well, we can take you to the ER, but we're going to be charging you $1,800 to get in the ambulance when you can just drive yourself there. You're fine. You have nothing wrong with you. And I was like, I don't have that money. So like, okay, fine. I was like, fine, I'll take myself to the ER. And they're like, all right, well, have a good one. And they left. And so I started to like get together my stuff to go to the ER, and I was trying to get an Uber to come with my phone, and I couldn't see the buttons. I couldn't see anything on my phone. It was like I was blind. I was like blinded. And I was like, I can't see anything, and I can barely push any buttons. And I have an iPhone, so it's not like I'm laboriously pushing anything, but I was like, I can't push any buttons. And so I called the doctor's office again, and I said, I'm having trouble pushing these buttons on the phone. Can you guys please send an Uber for me to come over there? And so they did. They sent me an Uber. I get to the surgery center, and I told the doctor what had happened with the door. Hold on. I get to the surgery center, and I tell the doctor what happened with the brushing of my breast on the door, with everything with the ambulance, what they had said. And so he looked at me, he looked at my breast, he felt it, it hurt really bad, and he was like, okay, it looks like you have a hematoma. And I was like, a hematoma, okay, so what a hematoma is it's like internal bruising of your veins and of a piece of tissue or something. So it's internally bruised, and it's like, it's really hard to heal a hematoma because the blood is coagulated, it's like stuck in there. And so he was like, we'll have to remove it surgically. And I was just like, oh my God, no, I don't want another surgery right now. But the pain was so bad that I couldn't breathe. And so he was like, okay, so we'll do another surgery. And I was like, perfect, I guess. So let's go. So then another lady comes in after a minute, and she's like, so it's going to be $3,500. And I was like, 35, like $3,500 for this surgery. I just paid you guys $10,000 4 weeks ago. I don't have the money. Then they said to me, well, she was like, let me see what I can do. Maybe we can put you on a payment plan. I was like, because I have money. It's in a money market, like it's in my IRA. I have to pull it out, and it will take a couple days. So if you guys can give me a couple days to get the money together, I could do that, but like I just don't have it right now. Let me go see what I can do, she says, and she goes off. She comes back and she was like, well, the doctor says that because it's just a hematoma, it's not necessary, and you can go home if you'd like. If you'd like to go home, you can, or if you're in enough pain, you have to pay the money up front. And I was like, okay. And she was like, or you can go to an ER and have them do it. And I was like, I'm not going to a freaking ER. Like, I know that the ER is not equipped to take out a breast implant, put it back in without like leaving you scarred up. I know that. I worked in a hospital for 5 years. So I was like, no, like, let me call my mom. And we got the money together somehow. Thank God. We got all the money together, gave them the money. They put me into surgery. And when I come out of surgery, the doctor tells me that he found an infection, and the infection was Staphylococcus aureus. If you don't know what that is, I would Google it, but it is a staph infection, basically, coming from my left breast implant, and it was seeping down my ribs, into my stomach, into my neck, all over my body. It was literally, this infection was spreading everywhere, and that's why I was having so much trouble moving. I couldn't move anything. Like, my body was dying, basically. I was going into septic shock. So all the warning signs were there. The doctor he should have known the warning signs, to be honest, because I had told him all the symptoms that I was having were early signs of septicemia, and he missed it. He told me it was a hematoma. So, so there I was having this breast. Then he removed it, he cleaned the area, the infected area, and then he placed it back in, and he sewed me back up. So then I have been, even to this day right now, have been fighting this septic infection. I'm still taking the antibiotics. I'm still not out of the woods. It's still, I don't know if I'm gonna have to have surgery to get them removed, because as of right now, I'm still fighting this infection, and it's already been 2 weeks. And I don't know, I don't want to get emotional right now, but it meant a lot to me to have these. And it was really hard for me to earn the money, to save the money, to get them. So for 4 weeks later to have them removed, it's kind of like, it's heartbreaking for me. And and I don't want that to happen. So I'm fighting it every day. And, today something happened that really scared me. Something, basically, I thought that like I was over the main part of the infection, but like it kind of came back up again. Like I could feel it, and it's upsetting because like I thought that I was over the main part of it, but it's still there. So the infection is still there. I'm still fighting it with antibiotics, and I'm not sure what's going to happen next. I can have one removed because this one is fine. This one didn't have any infection. It's perfectly okay. It's the left one that has the infection, and that's like bothering me, and I'm still fighting it. So the doctor was like, you can choose, if I choose to remove it, you can choose to keep one of them. And I'm like, what am I going to keep, one breast? Like, I haven't decided that yet, yes or no to that yet, because the truth is that if I get them both removed and I want them to do it again in, however long, I would have to pay for two as opposed to just paying for one. And I'm like, so in the last 6 weeks, I've given this doctor $13,000. I don't have money for more, and I don't even know how I'm going to pay for it if he asks me to if he tells me to remove this one. I'm still in the woods with it. I don't know what's going to happen here. So the moral of this story is staph infection is a very common thing with breast implants, apparently. I did the research afterwards. I didn't even think it was something that's possible because I've never had staph in my life. Never had Staphylococcus aureus ever once in my life until I got this breast. So I know that it was either the manufacturer issue from there or an issue from the doctor's office itself. And I'm telling you, this doctor, he's a celebrity doctor. He's all over the place. Like, he's a big one. So I'm assuming that this doesn't happen often because I didn't see anything online or anything about this happening under his watch. So I don't know. There's no way. It's in the door brushing it, like, that's not going to give me staph infection. So it's like, I don't understand. There's no way to prove what's the point of origin on this infection. However, I know that it's a common thing. It's really hard to, again, prove where it came from, but it's very painful. And I almost died. I almost died from it. And the truth is that, like, I thought about it and I was like, would I rather die or have breasts? Sure, that should be an easy question. I grew up my whole life without them. But at the same time, I had never felt happier than I did when I first saw myself with these breasts and they were like real, and I felt like I was that much closer to being who I felt I was on the inside, on the outside, and it took a while. It took a long time for this to happen. So just know that, like, when you choose to get breast implants done, it's a huge decision. It's not easy to make this decision, and it's not easy to go through it. And I hope that if you do, you have somebody there that can help you. But at the same time, like, I've never been happier. I've never felt better about my body than now, and it's not even over yet. Like, they're not even mine, really, because they could be removed. And I'm going to his office tomorrow, and we're going to figure out what's going on next. And I'm really scared because I don't want to lose them. But the possibility is there because I can't seem to fight this infection. So I don't know what my options are next, but we're going to be exploring them. And I didn't want to end this video on a sad note. So I want to say that, like, when you're transgender and you're choosing to go through this surgery, it's a choice that, like, it's only you can make, but it should be done because you feel like this is something you need. If it's a willy-nilly choice, if somebody wants you to do it and you're not sure, don't do it. Don't do it unless it's you in your heart that wants it. If you're doing it to please your boyfriend or to please a man or to make men more attracted to you, don't do it. Don't. Love yourself first. Love yourself before you go out there and you put yourself under major trauma, major risk, major issues that can happen from this. Choose wisely and don't do it for anybody else, but do it for yourself and your soul. I did it for myself, and you know, like, I have to deal with the consequences of potentially not being able to keep them, and that's that. And if I can't keep them and it's my life over these breasts, obviously I'm going to choose my life. But there can be more implants in the future. There can be more tries. It'll take time for me to save the money for it and everything. But like, you know, I choose life. And I hope you will too, because life is way more important than anything else. You never know who you're going to help. You never know whose life you're going to change for the positive, for the better. It's like they used to say, don't leave 5 minutes before the miracle happens. So it's like you just never know whose life you're going to benefit. Like, I have people in my life, I don't know why, but a lot of people come to me saying that they are depressed and they want to commit suicide. I don't know why. A lot of people do, and I always tell them, everybody who ever says that to me, I say this to them. I say, if this is what you're going to do, there's nothing I can do to stop you. But I will ask you this, to do me one favor before you go and do something so selfish. Please take your shoes, take your clothes, take things that you take for granted and go give them to somebody. Go to the nearest homeless person you can find and give them your shoes. Give them the shirt off your back. Give them whatever, a jacket, a blanket. Just go do it. If you're going to go kill yourself, please go give your shoes and your shirts to some homeless guy first. And when you do that and you see the look in their eye for you doing something that is completely selfless, perhaps you will think twice about killing yourself. Because you're changing somebody's life for the better and you're doing something out of love and kindness. And you see this gratitude in the person's eyes and you know that life is worth living. Because spreading love instead of spreading hate is literally the best thing you can ever do. And when you take your own life, you're taking your light out of this world when there's somebody who can see themselves out of the darkness with your light and you just don't know yet. So, in a positive note, love yourselves. And if you're having troubles or you're having issues and you're depressed, please reach out to me. Please reach out to me, because I would love to answer you or talk you through something. Because I know I've been there and I didn't have anyone to reach out to. And I'm here. I have my phone. I know, like, I'm not all this big YouTuber or anything, but I'm here to listen. That's all. I'll listen if you need somebody to talk to. So thank you so much for listening to that rant, and here we go with the ending. So thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of the video. If you don't mind, if you stuck around this long and you want to see more, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notifications for my channel. It really does help in regards to boosting the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm. And it doesn't just help me, but it helps who may need help or who may need to hear the message that I had to say today. So again, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and hit the bell notifications so that I can not only help you, but other people as well. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and I would get back to them as soon as they're left, really. I have no problems with the amount of people commenting, trust me. But yeah, so there'll be more episodes. Hopefully that'll be a little bit more lighthearted and not so somber, because again, I'm still going through this whole breast thing, and hopefully in a few weeks I'll have good news. But we'll see. I'll keep you guys all updated with what's going on with the surgery, if you care to know. And if not, I'm still going to keep you updated anyway. So I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you so much. Bye.